Thank you. Okay, I'm Jessica Kerr. I am thrilled to be moderating this panel today. It should be highly entertaining. Today, we have Boris Tane, founder of Nominal.dev, tagline, "No one should be on call in 2026."
Ooh.
Controversial already.
We will have words.
Boris made a post about the software development lifecycle is dead that started a whole conversation that led to this panel. So thank you for that, Boris. Also, thank you for your chapter in Observability Engineering, 2nd edition. And then, okay, so part of the software development lifecycle is dead is especially code review. So next we have David Pohl, who's a senior director of engineering at GitHub in charge of pull requests. Now, he thinks code review is not dead, but he may have a vested interest. And finally, Charity Majors, co-founder of Honeycomb, brought the word observability into software, and author of 3 books. We have Database Reliability Engineering, Observability Engineering, and Observability Engineering 2nd edition, which is at least 1 additional book. All right, so to start off with, we'll start with Boris. What have agents done to the software development lifecycle?
Well, I believe that the software development lifecycle is finished. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. And there are a lot of people. Oh, sorry, mic fell. Should be better now? Good. So yeah, the software development lifecycle is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. I think we can hold on to it. We can kind of try to keep the relics of the past, but we... Sure. Thank you so much. This must be better. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, we can hold on to what we have been doing for the past 15, 20 years, but we have one specific piece of the SDLC that is the ability to generate code. We went from, a developer that is very, very active, being able to write maybe, 500 lines, maybe 1,000 lines a day. When I was sitting there during the previous talk, I think my agent probably generated 5,000 lines. So if that specific piece is bonkers, everything else has to change. And I think that change today is not it's not an incremental change, it's a destructive change. It's actually taking it away and replacing it with something totally new. I don't think we know what that new thing is yet because everybody is experimenting, but ultimately, I don't think that we have a world where there are pull requests, where agents are arguing with each other on the review in the comments, and then you receive the webhooks and it sends Slack messages. Like, I think that is not going to continue. So yeah.
Well, no, I think I very much agree that it's changing. Like the tools that we have are pretty radically changing the all of the costs associated with the process of building software. But the pieces of the SDLC are things that exist for a reason because there's something that we get out of them in the process. And I don't think all of that goes away. I think we have tools like reviews as a way to assess, is this something that I want in my product? Is this something that I want as part of my code base? Is this something that I want, that I feel comfortable releasing as a company? And we are still going to be around wanting to exercise judgment on those things. I think the things that are changing are actually pushing things even more toward this world where code is cheap enough that a PR is actually a good artifact of, hey, I went and prototyped a thing. I would like to now share this with the other people that I'm working with and collaborating with, and it becomes even more important as a medium for collaboration, and then ultimately the ability to make a judgment call about when something is going to become part of your product.
But is it code that you should be looking at when you're having that conversation?
Maybe. I think right now, does this still work? Can you hear me?
Well, everyone can hear you, David.
Yeah, well.
No microphone necessary. Actually, that same is probably true of me. Yeah, so I think that, I think what I'm hearing is the ordering and coupling is gone, vanished, but the elements are still there. We still need to test. We still need to, and by the way, I would like to point out one thing about your very spicy blog post, which I loved, and still quote all the time, which is that, I think the punchline was the only part that remains is monitoring, and it must evolve. But monitoring isn't actually in the software development lifecycle. Maintenance is. And I feel like maintenance, or monitoring is the most important part of the maintenance, one of the most important parts, because it's how you understand what's happening, and it needs to change by pervading the entire software development lifecycle instead of just understanding it when it's been born.
So I buy that monitoring and observability are deeply important in this changing world. However, I also think that we're not going to be in a world where we can YOLO everything into production. There are consequences that you cannot roll back.
I do not want to open my Slack app in the morning and see that all the buttons have subtly changed around.
Sure, or you introduce a subtle bug that causes data to get lost for your customers, or you make a change that is offensive to a bunch of your customers, or things like that. You can't roll back.
Some friction is good.
Yep, you can't roll back everything, and so there will always be gates as we work together, as we build things.
Yeah, however, I don't think that the artifact that we will be using is code, right? I know that there are a lot of people that still read code, but the people I hang out with don't read code anymore. I haven't read a single line of code in maybe a couple of months. And I don't think anybody should. It's free. You generate it for free, you delete it for free. And the kind of collaboration piece, of course, it doesn't work with every type of software. You cannot prototype and demo everything, but the vast majority of software, you can kind of isolate what you're trying to share with your team into an artifact that is that exists. They can click on, they can use it in the CLI, they can install it on their computer and whatever. And I think that artifact is going to be the thing that people are using more and more to share their ideas, to collaborate, to get review and feedback on software rather than reading code. Because let's be honest, nobody is reviewing. You submit, if you have 200 PRs a day.
Can we put that to the audience? Is anyone reviewing code? Okay.
Okay, so are you reviewing the code, or are you glancing at it and saying looks good to me? Reviewing? Okay, well.
Yeah, but a couple of those people were database engineers, so they don't count.
Database engineer cycle still exists? Good to know.
Yeah, the closer you get to laying bits down on disk, the more paranoid you need to be. I think this is a well-established fact.
Absolutely. So what I've seen mostly happen is pull requests getting up there, codecs saying, oh, it's not right, Cloud Code review saying, oh, maybe you should do this. The review agent that was built internally having no idea what's going on. You have those 4 or 5 agents that are giving random opinions. And then the senior engineer or the staff comes and says, looks good to me, and it goes to prod. With that process, we are essentially just masquerading around the fact that that artifact is broken. Now, when it comes to observability, monitoring, maintenance, etc., I think what's super important is that we close that loop as quickly as possible, right? When code gets generated, it doesn't necessarily need to go to production. It can go to a staging environment, even though staging is a lie. It can go to a staging environment where we can do a little bit of testing, and then it goes to production. But we have the tools in place in production to actually detect all of these regressions as quickly as possible, and then roll back, roll forward, fix, etc.
It's validation.
Precisely.
I mean, I think that's true, but it's a little bit of a reductive version of what a PR is. Like, yes, there do exist a lot of PRs that operate exactly the way that you just described. And I have a feeling eventually many of those are going to go away because there's a class of types of changes that we really can automate away with a lot of the tools that exist now or will exist soon. However, there is also a whole bunch of things that don't fall into that category. Since the beginning of the pull request with Linus reviewing the stuff that was being added to his software, he was applying way more judgment than just, is this the code that I want here, or is this code okay? And that has always been a part of the pull request. I think code review, as it looks today, is changing because we now have tools that can help us a lot and actually allow us to focus only on the things that really do matter for us to take a look at. But I don't see the need for that judgment, for that taste, for that all of that stuff going away, and I think we're still going to have this step in our process in some form.
So part of the problem is how much we're overloading, I'm loud enough.
All good.
We're overloading the term pull request to mean all kinds of different things. What?
Charity, use the mic.
Do I not? Am I not loud enough?
You're loud enough for me, but
Use the mic, they say.
Here we go.
People have spoken.
thanks.
Excuse me. We're overloading a lot of things into this. And part of the reason that I feel like so many people were so quick to go, yes, the pull request is done, fuck the pull request, is because it's been used and misused in so many different ways. Like we've just tried to overload what? Quality, taste, product, judgment.
Privacy, security.
Other people's particular opinions that are not your opinions, and colliding tastes and so many hurt feelings and like emotional like manipulation and just like shit you have to manage, right? It's too much for one humble conversation, which is what it really is. So as Senior Director of Pull Requests at GitHub, what do you think we should be doing with pull requests?
Well, I mean, I think there's what are we doing, and it is all of those things, and we see all of those things. And I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I do think that there's a set of activities that remain important and a set of them that are going to fall away and be automated. And a big chunk of how we figured that out is where is it valuable for you to apply your judgment? It's not a question of can the agent do this? It's a question of do I add something by being part of this this conversation? There are pieces of that that are your judgment, and there are pieces of that that are a product of collaboration. And I think those are the pieces that are going to flourish as time goes on. Exactly how that looks, I don't know. I think we're probably going to get way more artifact and preview oriented than we are today. I think being able to dive into the code if necessary, if it's critical, if et cetera, is still going to be a part of it. But how much time you spend on each of those things, I think that's changing.
Okay, I'm hearing that the resolution is we're going to have the code review minus the code. and so Boris, given that we can still have a conversation about whether we want to make this change, how do we make this fast enough and also still safe?
I think we want to bring a lot of that judgment and taste, etc., not only from the individual developer, but from the team much, much earlier into the process of building software. So is there a way that we can encode all of these things such that they happen at the time that the code is generated rather than after the code is generated, tested, etc., and into some cloud platform where people can look at it? I think we want to do that much, much earlier. And when it comes to reading code, you still want to read code in very, very, very specific scenarios. I think we are getting to the point where it's only when things are critical that you want to look at the code. And a lot of a lot of engineers believe that everything they do is critical when that is not the case.
Ouch.
Like the vast majority of software that we build is not critical. It's a REST API with buttons in front.
Also not hard. Yeah.
So
As someone who's built many REST APIs, it hurts a little bit.
So I think there's definitely a lot of nuance, but for the teams that I've seen moving extremely fast and delivering quality software at a very, very good pace, the pull request is not there anymore, and they rely on what is happening in production to inform what they are writing the code for, and they keep that in a very tight feedback loop.
I will say, just since you posed a rather glib, it's code review without code. I had a blog post that I had written in response to some of Boris's work. I think I had called it "Code Reviews Are Not About Catching Bugs." Originally, one of the titles was going to be "Code Reviews Are Not About Code," because I had actually had a conversation with one of my engineers working on pull requests about how we need to change pull requests for this new world. And a huge part of that conversation was like, look, yeah, there's the code, but this is not all I do here. And there are so many parts of my job that are spent in this interface because it's a collaborative interface. And it happens to be one of the well-established collaborative interfaces that's part of the software development lifecycle. I agree it's collapsing, but I think what's collapsing is, what we're collapsing into is something where you get something very tangible and concrete at the end of it, and there is nothing more concrete than the code.
What about the running software in production?
David, what about running software in production?
Running software in production is extraordinarily important, and it is where it lives, However, if you're trying to collaborate with someone and have a substantive conversation about what it is that you're doing in advance of rolling that stuff out, the artifact is the code.
Fair, but for the most part, I think that people should be coming to view production not as something that happens after development, but as a stage of development.
I think that's absolutely true.
Part of the problem I think that we're running into here is, it is not that, it's more like the universe of how we build software is fragmenting instead of everything was this way and becoming this way. Like, anyone here ever do a complicated database migration in which you found out that all of the capture replay traffic that you had done for 24 hours and replayed just actually did not catch every single way the query performed? Like, that gives a person humility about your ability to ever fully abstract away from some of these issues that are related to bits on disk. And I think, as so many front-end engineers have told me, it is just as hard on the other side of the stack. I just don't know the details. My point being, part of the problem is that we have bundled so many things into this code review thing, in part because we've bundled so many things into the code artifact. It is the only place that there is any kind of specification, any record of bugs that we fixed, any record of the contracts we have made with our users, implicit or explicit. It is the, Chad Fowler, the person who, has anyone here been reading like some of the Phoenix architecture stuff that he's been writing about? He's the person who coined the term immutable infrastructure in 2013 or whatever. He's been talking about how, anyone here ever do a complicated API rewrite? I know you have, the same one I did. It fucking sucked. God, it took us 6 months to write the API the first time. It took us like 3 years to rewrite it in Golang. Because you're just constantly like, oh, you mean Ruby just kind of rounded up to 0? Oh, you mean MongoDB? Yeah, anyways.
And something got monkey patched in.
Oh, monkey patched. Never say that word again. Point being, that was all bundled into the artifact of the code implicitly. The only way you find these things is by breaking them. Anyone here familiar with the term strangler fig? Yeah, see, like, this, honestly, I was wrestling with some deep feelings of my own about, the changes in how we're building software. Like, I come from the back-end side. And once I realized that this is the only way, is to decouple intent, invariance, spec from the code artifact and bring them out. That's the only way that we make a world where you can define architecture and regenerate code to match.
Hey, Charity, would you define the strangler thing? Because not
A
everybody...
strangler fig is a plant, I guess. Martin Fowler borrowed the term to talk about how the only way to do a complicated systems rewrite is by building infrastructure around the thing and then slowly breaking it piece by piece and rebuilding it. It's the only way. Face first. Great term.
I mean, I think you're hitting on something that very much resonates with me. I think what's interesting though is that all of those things that you were just describing, the contracts and the intent and how the architecture is supposed to work, and all of those things. More and more, we're getting those as a byproduct of the collaboration that we do either with each other or with agents. And code is also one of those things that we are getting as a byproduct of those things. So the question ends up becoming, where do you do that?
Yes.
And then how do you end up with a system of record for that?
And I think, in addition to that, how do you get to a point where that system of record doesn't diverge from code?
Well, it has to be disposed. You have to be able to generate the code from the record.
Yeah, but what is running in production is the code, not that artifact. If at any point in time they diverge, we are in big trouble.
Oh, they drift, just like infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think we've had that, right? Like we spent the past, 10, 15 years coming up with infrastructure as code, etc. And now people are asking Claude, build me a Kubernetes cluster that does A, B, and C. And it will do it by calling the API, but can you ever get that same cluster again? Probably not. But are people willing to go back to that world where they had to learn Terraform and Pulumi and whatever to be able to get that infrastructure? I don't know, because just asking Claude is so easy, and people are lazy by definition. So, yeah, go ahead.
I think you're right about that. And also, I think that sort of works when you're building software in single-player mode, and not so well when it's multiplayer. And that's multiplayer both as how you're building it, but also, like, do you have systems that need to work together? And that's where I think a lot of those things that we will want to do because it's the lazy thing to do, and we're all engineers and we want to be lazy, don't actually work, and we will continue to need to engineer.
Yeah, we've been all so crazy about, whoa, everything can be, loosey-goosey, non-determinist. I feel like we're starting to see a swing back to, we need both. And what are the interfaces and where do they cross over, and how do we use the shortcuts of the non-determinism, but also having a deterministic artifacts and languages and stuff that are less loosey-goosey, higher up the stack. But I think it's hard to see those things because they don't really exist right now, but I definitely think that they're going to exist.
Yeah, I was wondering, and I think we might be talking about the same thing. What are the artifacts that are outputs of the code, so they're based on the code, of what is the real architecture diagram? Like a service map in Honeycomb.
But having a different, an architecture level artifact that you can have your conversations around and reason about and commit and version that is stable. And then, a big word that we haven't said at all yet, evals, that actually validate that what we have generated is within certain parameters so that it is deterministic enough. Feels like it should be coming.
We've all talked about this like it's deterministic code, and there's a whole nother level of when
but we need
coding
bounded non-determinism, that we can replace components behind as long as it's good enough.
Do you have a thought?
Can we have some closing statements?
Why don't you go first?
That was a trap. Boris, go first.
Our closing questions.
Closing questions.
Ooh. Questions for the audience, for you, for each other?
Yeah. I mean, really, we're in a whole new world.
What do we not know?
What do we know? What do we need to think about?
Yeah, I think we need to spend a lot more time thinking about if code is free,
Yeah.
what is actually valuable? Like for the past how many years, as engineers, we always understood that our job is not to generate code. But to the people above, we have been code monkeys. Now that is, like, the value of the code is zero, what is our role? And how do we communicate that to the people above such that next time there is a 40% layoff, we are not the first ones, to be gone?
Oof. For me, the question that I ask all the time now that is new is, where do I want to be involved? Like, what is the essential value that I give or get from this activity that I'm doing? And how do I make the rest of it not have to be part of my attention set at all? And that subtractive process is what will make the sheer scale of what we're doing actually manageable for us. And I think we'll ask that question about PRs, and I think we'll ask that question about everything, actually, not just in the engineering world, because in the world where the answer to can the agent do this is yes, the question is actually what do I want to be involved with? Where do I apply my influence so that I build things for people with other people?
I don't have anything better than that to end on, so thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Boris, David, Charity.
Thanks so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Yep, likewise.